Okay, in today's video, we're going to show you how to convert an older pre-95 Club Car DS to the MCOR4 throttle. And when I say pre-95, I don't mean all 95s. Actually, it was a mid-year transition when they converted from the old style throttle to the new style throttle linkage underneath the car. So you're going to want to pay attention to what you've got before you proceed and make sure that this is the kit for you. So we'll show you more about that when we start the video, but this conversion kit is only for the old style throttle linkage underneath the car. If you've got the new style throttle linkage, we don't need to make any of these modifications. This kit will fit already. There's nothing that we need to change about the linkage. So in this video, we're going to show you how we modify this pivot rod and install these new accelerator blocks with this MCOR4 conversion kit and this new hill brake rod and make it all work in this old style chassis. This particular car is an 87 model, and we're putting an IQ conversion kit on here with a factory harness and the Alltrax AC1 AC kit on this car. So we're going to have a full video of the build of this car, but the first section we're going to do is we're going to show you how to convert the throttle over to the MCOR4, and that's going to be very important in the future because the Curtis PB8 throttle that we used to use on these cars has been discontinued by Curtis and is no longer available unless you buy an aftermarket version, which we do not recommend. We like to go with factory components whenever we can, and that's what our MCORs are. We don't use the cheap ones, we use the good stuff. If you got any questions, please feel free to contact us and enjoy the video. This is the early style pedal configuration. It can be found on mid-year 1995 and older DS chassis. And we're going to show you how to convert this pedal style to the MCOR4 throttle so you can use a modern IQ system. The old style pedal assembly can be identified by the old style return spring that runs towards the front of the car rather than towards the rear of the car like they do on the newer style. Also, the pivot rod does not have a bolt and a nut here to hold the claw onto the pivot rod. It's actually welded and it is not adjustable. There are not splines on it that you can use to pull the claw off and set the backlash on the claw like there is on the new style either. So that's going to have to be converted over as well. And we're going to show you step by step exactly what you need to do to make that happen. All right, so I recommend taking these brake blocks loose so you can get the whole brake pedal assembly out of your way so it's not interfering with anything you try to do here. All right, we got that out of the way. So the next thing I want to do is take this spring off. We're going to keep this. We're going to use it again later. So take the spring off. Take this ball stud right here completely off of the pedal. Keep that for later as well. And the next thing you're going to need to do is, if you look right here, at this nut right here, that bolt actually, that bolt that goes through the accelerator pedal holds the pivot rod into the pedal. We're going to remove that so we can remove the pedal. And that's 7/16. So take your 7/16 wrench and put on it and take it out. All right, so the pedal is loose. Take that bolt out, keep it. Knock the pedal off the pivot rod. There we go. All right, take the pedal, push it through the floor. We're going to need to modify that. Get rid of that, and then the next thing we're going to need to do is get this pivot rod out. So we need to get this plastic sleeve off. And you may have to lubricate this so it'll slide through here. Some of them move easier than other ones. This one actually is not that bad. That one came out. That's trash. We're going to get rid of that. So these two accelerator bearing and bracket assemblies, they need to come off of the frame completely because we're going to replace them. All right, you need to turn your pivot rod this way and cut it where I've drawn this black line, and we'll show you why that is when we put it back on. And that's what it looks like after it's been cut. Okay, the next thing you need to do is to take this rubber bumper and shave it down one side and make it flat. Right on the edge of the stud. And this is what it looks like when you're done. It's completely flat on one side. And we'll explain this to you. We'll show you why we do this when we put it back together. And on the accelerator pedal, you'll notice that this shaft right here, this hole that the shaft ran through, rather, is a D-shaped hole where the pivot rod came out. So the new pivot rod is round. So we're going to need to open this up. We're going to use a 1/2-inch drill bit and run right through this hole. After you drill your pedal, take your pivot rod, drop it through it just like that. And then right here in the center where this hole lines up, you're going to drill a 5/16 hole. Right here where this green dot is that we marked right here in the center of the pedal, you're going to drill all the way through the pedal. And then after you've done that, you're going to come down here and go through this hole right here with a 1/4-inch bit and take these threads out of it. Okay, so we need to put the rubber stopper back on. Same place it came off of. We need to run this nut all the way down. Just one of them. Then put it on with the flat side facing down towards where the MCore is going to go. Okay, just like that. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the pedal through the floor. All right, we got the pedal there. It's just resting. I got the pivot rod stuck through it just to hold it from falling back through. Now we're going to put the accelerator bearing and bracket assembly back on the frame. Actually, we're going to use new ones. Back in the stock location, using the stock hardware. These are both the same, so it doesn't matter which one goes where. Those are done. Okay, so take your pivot rod, stick it through the pedal just like this, and then you're going to take this little plastic spacer that comes with the pivot rod and put it right here. Push the pivot rod through the accelerator blocks. Till it won't go any further. Like that. And then you're going to open this up. This is the heel brake rod, 1011-87702. Going to open that up. We're going to take out the claw. We're going to take that claw. We are going to line this hole up with the pedal down here like we talked about before. We're going to take that claw and hang it in about the 7 o'clock position, like that. 6 o'clock being straight at it, 7 o'clock being over to the left just a hair. And then we're going to put the nut on it right there to hold it, to keep it from falling back down. Now what we need to do is we need to set the pedal height. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Behind the pedal, between the pedal and the floor, right here at the top of the pedal, we're looking for 6 inches to the back of the pedal. And as you see here, we've got about 5 7/8 to the back of the pedal. So we need to adjust this pedal to where it comes up a little bit higher. Okay, so what we've got to do is we've got to actually take this nut and run it a little closer to this on this stopper underneath this car. And that will allow the pedal to retract further, which is going to pull it up further off of the floor. So you're going to have to do this in just fine measurements until you get the 6 inches that we're looking for. So we've made our adjustments and we're going to check it again, touching the floor. Right at 6 inches, that's what you want. So that is good. Now we need to make sure that we tighten up both of these nuts, leaving the flat side facing down. If it spins, you might have to hold it with a pair of pliers, but you need to tighten both of these nuts to keep this thing from moving. There we go. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so now we're going to put the brake blocks back on with the brake pedal assembly. Okay, now that that's on, we're going to remove this park brake claw from the back of the pedal. You got to knock this little retainer off. And then it will slide downward. We're going to have to knock it off the back of the pedal so we can remove it completely. Just take it and slide it down until it comes off. And you can throw it away. I know you probably can't tell in the video, but that right there is extremely worn. So we're going to put a new one on it. It's part of that hill brake latch kit that we talked about earlier. So we're going to take it out of the bag. That's the new rod. So what I like to do is take this off, take the ball stud completely off, and we'll put it back on in just a minute. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and install it like this. Slide it up on the shaft, take the new retainer, hold it right there, hold slight upward pressure on it, and take your channel locks. Like that, and squeeze it until it won't go any further. So now that's on. Now we can install this back on the end of the rod. And what I like to do is go, start it here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then stop at 6 full turns, and then hook it up to the ball stud on the back of the pedal for the hill brake rod. Just pull up on it and it'll snap into place. And that's all there is to it. What we need to do, we can go ahead and tighten up this pivot rod. And then you'll notice that, you rest your pedal back here all the way, have it pushed all the way back so it's retracted all the way up, and then this pivot rod still swings. And if you'll notice, it's moving this brake claw as well. So we've got to lock this down at the correct setting right here so the backlash is right, so this claw doesn't rub on this claw when we're not applying the park brake. So what I like to do is close them together while they touch, and then just barely pull them apart to where they don't rub when you press the brake pedal. And you can press the brake pedal, so I can still feel it just a hair. So you pull it back a little further. Oh yeah, that feels good. That feels good. Okay, that should be good. All right, so now you can run this bolt through the pedal. make sure you put your big washer on the back side. And then run it through the pedal. Put the nut on it right here and tighten it up. Make sure none of this moves while you're doing this. I like to use a ratchet wrench to get in here. You can't really get in here with an impact because it's too tight. The ratchet wrench fits pretty well. And it's no big deal if this stuff moves. I mean, you could take this loose and you can move the stuff back. I mean, you're gonna have to play with it until you get it, see it moved right there. That's why it's best to have somebody help you while you're doing this, to hold one thing still while the other is being tightened so nothing shifts. Okay. So that is tight. So now we're going to put the return spring back on, and we're going to reuse this piece that came off of it. We're going to use a 1/4-inch bolt and go right back through the pedal just like it was previously. Except instead of being tapped into the pedal, we're actually going to put a nut on it. I like this way better because it's so much more secure. We can now tighten that up. Okay. That should work. So if we've got everything adjusted correctly, we're done. We're going to press the brake, and there's no rubbing. Push the lock, the heel brake. Yep, it's locking. And it is releasing. Everything is good. So now we're ready to put the MCore on. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this housing that comes with the MCOR4 conversion kit, and we're going to snap the MCOR4 into the housing and secure the MCOR4 to the housing with 2 of the Torx screws that comes with it. Just the little silver ones. These 2 little silver screws. And you can go ahead and tighten those up. Next, we're going to take this drive bar that comes with the kit, and we are going to position this return spring that comes with the kit onto the drive bar and hook it on that little tab right there. Then take it, push it through the frame, through that hole, and hook it onto the pedal right here. Then we're going to take the MCOR4 and line it up with the drive bar underneath. It only fits one way, so if it goes together, that means it's in there like it's supposed to be. There it is. So that's it. That's on. Now we're going to take the 2 little black screws that came with the MCOR4 conversion kit and put one of these black screws through the little loop in the spring like so. Just like that. And the other one is going to go right here in the upper right hole. And you can actually go ahead and tighten these down. That's going to hold everything in place. So I'm going to tighten these up, and then we'll go from there. That is done. So now the only thing we got left is to plug this little adapter into the MCOR4 for your wiring. And these 2 little pigtails, these will plug directly into our factory style IQ wire harness, and you won't have to cut or splice anything. So we're going to test this We're going to press the accelerator pedal, and we should hear the MCore click, and we should see the whole entire linkage moving. And it works. One thing that we mentioned earlier, we said we were going to show you, is why we cut this pivot rod earlier right here, is because when you press the accelerator to the floor and it pushes this backwards, the ear of the pivot rod would have pushed up against the bottom of the floor had we not cut it off. And the reason that we trimmed this piece is the same reason. The ear of this pivot rod wouldn't clear this rubber bumper if we didn't trim it. If you can actually see it right there underneath it. That's why we cut it flat on one side, so it doesn't interfere with the new style pivot rod. Okay, we've got the car sitting back down on the ground, and we're going to check it one more time. You can listen for the MCore click. There it is. Right there at the top of the pedal, which is very nice. That's what you want. That gives you all this travel all the way to the floor. A lot of times when the pedal linkage is worn, you may not get a click until you get way down here. And if that happens, you're not getting full output out of the MCore. So we're getting a click within the first 1.5 inches or so of travel, which is really good. And the brakes are not grabbing unless you press the park brake, which is very, very, very important. And when you do press the park brake, they're locking nice and tight, and they're not popping back off. It takes a nice firm push on the accelerator to disengage the park brake, which is what you want. You don't want it to come off easy. It's working great. All right, we're going to leave you here with a video of the complete working assembly. Just again, so you can get another good look to see exactly how this all works together. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to contact us by phone or by email, 706-431-3917 or info@revolutiongolfcars.com.